The situation in Syria has deteriorated into pure barbarity. Horrific reports of massacres against Druze and Christians are coming in, yet for some reason seem largely ignored. Well, Israeli Druze activist Mansor Ashkar is here with the breaking details. My friend, what is happening on the ground right now?
An actual genocide, ethnic cleansing, sponsored by the government of Syria. They made a fatwa which allows all the foreign fighters, if they join the fight, to go and take Druze women, also Christians if they're in that mountain, as loot of war, as sex slaves. And now we're having more Bedouin tribes and Muslim tribes, accompanied by the government soldier, who are flocking into that mountain to butcher and kill anyone alive, Christian, Druze. We're seeing horrific videos of people walking with the heads of the Druze people that they beheaded, mocking them, laughing at them. We're seeing horrific images of jihadists taking a Druze baby. It reminds us of the images we saw with the Bibas family, only there that baby had his mom, at least, to comfort him. Not that it was a good thing. They ended up with a terrible fate by the criminals from Gaza. But here we're having an image of jihadists in a car boasting and doing thumbs up with a Druze baby in the back that they kidnapped from Sweda. The government of Syria have allowed the spilling of the blood of the Druze and the Christians, and now all these jihadists are going freely with no consequences for the criminal behavior. The contrary, actually, the government is sponsoring and pushing for it. Some of the fighters that were arrested by the Druze forces fighting there admitted to being government soldiers, only this time they came without uniform because they said that was their instructions to evade the Israelis who are trying to save the Druze and the Christians, so don't have uniform. And they even admitted that their orders were to exterminate the Druze in that mountain. We have Christians who are being slaughtered there, churches are being burned. It's just a mad max of jihadists.
Well, it almost looks like, from the outsider perspective that it's almost too graphic to believe. I'm like, this has to be an AI image, but they're not. I mean, I saw the image you're speaking of where there's this guy smiling gleefully with holding two heads. And it's one of those things. I think it's really hard for someone in the West to understand that kind of depravity, that kind of barbarity, that kind of demonic nature. It is just so far removed from anything that we can imagine. But can you tell us about the Pastor Khalid Mezer? What happened with him and his family?
So apparently, from what we know, and it's very hard to get really, really good reports because not only that the Druze are under siege there's bodies in the streets for 4 to 7 days already now. There's a lot of rumors about, diseases spreading around. The internet has been cut off by the government on them, so they can't report. So from what we can gather from all the reports that we're getting, it was one of the Christian families of a pastor and his entire household that were slaughtered by these jihadists who went in and killed them. We've seen, church that was completely desecrated and burned. It's not the only Christian family that was attacked and killed there. We've seen 2 plagues already from religious leaders in that mountain, Christians, bishops, and etc., calling for the world to intervene and saying that they're coming to kill them and the Druze. I've heard stories where these jihadists will break into a Christian family's house and will take control of the house and keep the family inside while they're fighting just to play with them, and then threaten them that they're going to crucify them, hammer them to the wall. Did I tell you that story or not?
No, you have not.
So I'm in touch with some of the defenders in that mountain. One of them is a very dear man, and I really hope he survives. He's got wounded now, and I'm praying that he stay alive. He just told me that they rescued a Christian family, and now the man of that family is fighting alongside with them to push these invaders from their homes. And he told me this story, and he also let me hear to the Christian man. So told me the same story, so I can collaborate different stories, sounding the same. He's a sniper, by the way, trying to defend the country there. So they saw the family, they rescued them, and then the husband came and said this. They broke into his house, a Christian family. They started, abusing, humiliating him, and then they came to the little daughter, and they told her, "Your father is Christian, right?" And she said, "Yes." And says, Do you want us to make him look like Jesus?" So they told the man, "Please build a cross. And then we're going to crucify your father from his hands, just like they crucified Jesus, so your father can be like the Jesus that you love." And then they asked to take the phone from that daughter, and he was trying to resist. So the mother tried to intervene and said, please, maybe take my phone, just stay away from my daughter. So they looked at her with a smile and they said, you think we're going to take her phone? We're going to take your daughter. And then at that moment, they started taking the daughter. So the mother fell on her knees and she started praying. And her husband, scared from the situation, she started praying out loud. He told her, please don't pray out loud. It's not going to make it good for us. And she looked at him and he told her it's not a good time to pray right now out loud, please. And she looked at him, she said, this is the best time to pray right now. And in that moment when she prayed, that's what they said, that the Israeli jets came over the sky and landed, a missile in that area, taking these jihadists out. Some of them got shocked, disoriented, and they managed to escape, bring back the daughter,
Whoa.
saved by the Druze fighters. So just these horrific, it's on one hand inspiring to see the work of God defending these people and using Israel to do that. But on the other hand, the fact that they need to experience that, the fact that this has been going on for several days already, and there's no one intervening, and the only one that intervened was Israel until they were told to stop by some bizarre, something happened behind the scene and Israel stopped from interviewing. And for the last 3 days almost, there's not a single humanitarian aid package that has been dropped there. There's not support from the IDF anymore, at least formally. Someone is trying to push Israel from saving these minorities, because I know that Israel won. The people in Israel are crying for it. But something is happening behind the scene, and it's very, very concerning. And these Christians and Druze are being left alone on that mountain.
Okay, so Mansoor, the question is, holistically, why is this story being ignored? I mean, can you imagine if you had an IDF soldier holding up the heads of people, celebrating gleefully? This story just, it's like one ear out in one ear, out the other. No one seems. I mean,
No.
the BBC report on it, but other than that, like, when they do, it's kind of, not really clear. It's like clashes, and it's like, let's talk about it, but let's brush it under the rug. Why is this story just holistically ignored?
I think I have a pretty good idea why. I'll even add, I just watched a video before I came here that was sent to me of a military drone, Shahed drone, dropping a mortar on a bunch of civilian Druze walking in the street. And no one is there. If that would have happened with the IDF by mistake, even, the whole world will be singing about it. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're not talking about all the beheadings. There's stories. I've seen a father crying because he came home and he saw his little boy dead, shot, and they plucked the heart out of his chest. There's
God.
been beheaded. Imagine the things that we're seeing in the videos that are going there. It's horrific, and the world is ignoring. And I think I have a pretty good idea, actually, what is happening here. You see, there's a lot of pressure coming from Saudi Arabia and coming from other Sunnah Muslim countries that want to keep Jawlani in power. Syria was before ruled basically behind the scenes by the Shia, and now the Sunnah came and took over. And they've been trying to do a rebranding for the image of Jawlani, making him look like a hipster, saying that he have changed and that he controls Syria. So if Israel is allowed to intervene and go and save Christians and Druze in Syria, citizens of Syria, from the government that's killing its own citizens, this will be the end of the Syrian regime. He will collapse after that. No one is going to support him. His true face will be exposed. So what they're doing is they're trying to hush it down under the carpet. A genocide is happening, and trying to make Jawlani send some Red Cross trucks and go and save his citizens from the jihadists that came from all over the region to slaughter his citizens. But every time that he sent his forces, they ended up joining the fight and killing the Druze. So he's sending soldiers and they join. And these soldiers have ISIS patches and Al-Qaeda. So we're seeing that his entire military is made out of jihadists, ISIS and Al-Qaeda. These are the worst kind of human beings. And the West is still trying to hide it from us because they want to sell us this image that Syria is a good country, have changed, and we can live along. But nothing on the ground is showing otherwise. And I feel because of that, the West kind of, and backed by a lot of influence from the Arab world, have become a PR agent for a terrorist on the expense of the life of the Christians and the Druze in that mountain. Because the world should talk about it. There is literally one of the most gruesome attempt to ethnically cleanse an entire minority in the Middle East that happened since October 7, and it's actually becoming bigger scales than October 7. But how come no one is talking about it? You're one of the only ones that have been reaching from the beginning, telling me, let me bring that story out there. I haven't seen a single report on CNN, Fox News, or other they haven't reached to any Druze to come and try to tell the story, because there's a lot of suppression on it, because they don't want the true face of al-Jawlani, which is an ISIS who was wanted by America for being part of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And that's what happened when you let an ISIS terrorist take over a government. No one should be surprised.
Well, Mansor, I appreciate your time, my friend. Thank you for giving us reports from the ground. We'll obviously have to have you back on, as this story it's hard to stomach. But for now, my friend, thank you for coming on.
Maybe just one thing that I should add,
yes, sir.
if you don't mind. And the world is not talking about it. There were 3 genocidal attempts in the Middle East in the last 2 years, all done by the Muslims on the Jews. One, Gaza, Hamas tried to do it. They failed because Israel stopped them. Hezbollah wanted to do it. They failed because Israel stopped it. Iran tried to nuke Israel. They failed because Israel stopped it. So 3 genocidal attempts that were stopped by Israel. And now there's a 4th one. And the only one that is trying to stop it is Israel. And the world should let Israel stop it. Stop holding Israel back. We know the Middle East better than anyone else. Don't try to tell us how things are there. Let us go and save the Christians and the Druze in that mountain. We can do it. Just stop holding us back to save some kind of a terrorist and make him look good.
Mansor, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.